Governor Inslee, Your Excellencies, Mr. Nelson, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so pleased to be here tonight and see all of you here. It's a true privilege. If given the chance to speak about Sweden, I love to do that. Maybe, I don't know, our ambassador, she has been bragging so much, so I don't know if you can take more bragging tonight. But so if I get the chance, I will do that. If you go back 150 years, Sweden was one of the poorest countries in Europe. Actually, we were starving. The combination of poverty and desire for greater choice drove over 1 million Swedes to cross the Atlantic in search of a better life in America. The exodus of Swedes was 20% of the population at that time. The good news is that you welcomed us here. You helped us to realize our dreams by allowing us to make America our new adopted land and chosen home for future generations. The open cooperation between the newly arrived Swedes and the settled Americans helped to form a new foundation of friendship between our two countries. Today, the United States is still home to the next generations of Andersons, Carlsons, Swansons, and Nelsons. The more than 4.5 million Swedish descendants are living testimony to their ancestors' courage and curiosity to get a better life for themselves and their families. Swedish immigration, I think, was one of the things which led to a very strong belief in free trade and to an openness to what the world had to offer. Even though Sweden was far from the center of Europe, we had several companies operating internationally very early on. Because of this, and because almost every family had a relative or a friend that had emigrated to the United States, we quickly became used to the ideal of a global society. And also we realized that we could never survive if we only produced goods for the domestic market. The focus on export lifted our economy and our quality of life, and it's no different today, with trade representing almost half of our GDP. Another value that developed our society is trust. We've been talking about trust a lot these days, but that was really something. And Sweden is one of the countries that trust each other the most. Why is it that Swedes trust each other that much? There are many explanations, I guess, but I think it has a lot to do with the fact that we used to live in small communities. Small communities spread across our long and vast country. You knew if you broke a conference, the neighbors will hear about it, and someone who breaks a conference can't be relied on. Keeping promises therefore became a valuable quality for Swedes living separated geographically. I would say that even today, a handshake means much more than a 100-page contract in business. Today, our legacy companies are joined by new innovators and entrepreneurs. Fortunately, they are as global and as ambitious with their plans to create new super companies. To quote one of our own Swedish entrepreneurs, we must aspire to build and back more super companies that can raise the bar and act as inspiration. This is why we are here, because we are as curious and open-minded as those who came before us. We remain on our mission to discover, enable, inspire, and scale great products and services globally, and find new friends that we have done this week. I could not be more proud of the delegation that the fellowship has convened on this trip. And I would like to leave you with a final reflection from us all. we are so grateful for the reception that we have had since our arrival. We have met amazing people and amazing companies. And I can assure you that our minds are full of ideas, insights, and knowledge from our interactions with you guys. However, it is also in moments like these that we should feel grateful for our countries. Their commitment to democracy and pledge to protect our liberties and our freedom to make our own choices. Values that should be self-evident in every country. We should never take our strong shared values for granted. We should safeguard them, and we should pass them along to next generations. Finally, thank you, America, that you took care of us 150 years ago, and that you continue to be a good friend to Sweden. Thank you.
It's a great honor, of course, for me to participate in today's recognition of Mr. Nelson, or Eric, maybe we should call you, who is the director and CEO of the National Nordic Museum here in Seattle. His Royal Highness Prince Daniel is presenting Mr. Nelson with the Knight First Class of the Royal Order of the Polar Star in recognition of his many years of dedicated work and strong leadership in creating this outstanding museum that we have gathered in today. His Majesty, King Carl XVI of Gustaf, conferred the order to Mr. Nelson back in 2020. But because of the pandemic, today is the first opportunity to officially present it. And if you would have asked me in 2008, when I was the Deputy Ambassador to Washington, if Mr. Nelson here would get an order for building a museum, I would have said, no way. He came to my office with a blueprint of the building, saying it would cost, I don't know, how many millions? 60. And of course, coming from Sweden and not fully being aware of the fantastic fundraising culture and sponsorship and generosity in the United States, I was like, yeah, looks interesting, but of course, you made it come true. Eric's family emigrated from Sweden to the United States to seek new opportunities, just as the Prince talked about before. But their Swedish heritage and values remained an important part of their lives. Their passion and commitment to their Nordic heritage were also passed down to you, Eric. In 2019, this is a man that has been decorated before. Yes. In 2019, Eric was the recipient of the Swedish American of the Year Award from the Vasa Order of America. And in 2020, the Nordiska Museet, the Nordic Museum in Stockholm, honored Mr. Nelson with the Hazelius Medal in Gold, the highest award presented in Sweden for the preservation and promotion of Swedish cultural heritage. So, Eric joined the National Nordic Museum in January 2008, and then half a year later in my office, and has been overseeing its growth from a small local heritage site into a renowned center where Nordic culture, values and innovations are showcased and shared with a wider community. This impressive museum tells the story of 12,000 years of Nordic history and culture. It's the only museum in the United States that highlights the impact and influence of Nordic values and innovation in contemporary society. And Eric, you have, in the most magnificent way, succeeded in uniting the Nordic country's strength and values through the museum's architecture, exhibition programs, and events. And for this, the museum has received numerous awards since its grand opening in 2018. And today, the museum is a hub for Nordic public diplomacy in the United States and a valued collaborative partner for the Embassy of Sweden and many other Swedish-American organizations. So the creation of this Nordic platform is, of course, an important achievement and one that the Nordics and Americans alike will continue to use for years to come. It enables us to invite our US friends and colleagues to celebrate our strong relations. So, Eric, it is an honor working with you to strengthen the strong bonds between Sweden and the United States. And today, His Royal Highness Prince Daniel and myself, together with all our guests and your colleagues at the National Nordic Museum, would like to recognize all your hard work. And thank you for your passionate work on behalf of Sweden and all the Nordic countries. And thank you for your creative and constructive ideas that made the dream of a Nordic meeting place here in Seattle a reality. So with these words, Your Royal Highness Prince Daniel, may I ask you to bestow the Royal Order of the Polar Star to Mr. Eric Nilsson.
This incredible honor really doesn't belong to me. It belongs to everyone that made this museum a possibility. So I sincerely thank everyone who was a part of this. And so many people were instrumental, from Lars Johnson and Alan Osberg and others. Again, this museum and the dream of this museum would not have been possible without the support of a huge community. So this honor really goes to you and those that were involved in creating this fantastic facility. So thank you, and again, I don't know that I deserve this honor, but I am grateful for it, and I greatly appreciate it. And then I have to step back a minute to smaller things, and not really smaller things, but I need to acknowledge Lars Johnson and our good friend David Holheimer, who have actually supported the creation of this dinner tonight. So thank you to you as sponsors, but again, most importantly, thank you to you and to you for this fantastic honor. Again, not deserved, but greatly appreciated. And thank you to the entire community that made this museum possible. It is a platform to celebrate Swedish and Nordic contributions, not only here in the US, but around the world. So thank you for this, and thank you all for coming, and enjoy the rest of the evening. And the museum will be open for a while, so don't miss the most spectacular exhibition this museum has ever hosted, that's here from the National Museum in Stockholm. So if you do have a chance, you can't take wine back there, but once you're finished with your dessert, please feel free to meander to the back and take a look at a spectacular exhibition. Welcome to Seattle, and thank you for coming this evening.